On the 31st of August 1997, the world lost one of its most respected and cherished royals, Princess Diana of Wales. Princess Diana and her boyfriend, film producer Dodi Al-Fayed, were about to depart from the Hotel Ritz in Paris, which was owned by Al-Fayed's father, along with Al-Fayed's family bodyguard, Trevor Rees-Jones. When they caught wind that about 30 photographers were stationed at the main entrance of the hotel eagerly awaiting for the couple, they couldn't pass through the swarm of photographers, so they sent a decoy vehicle through the main entrance in an attempt to distract their attention. However, the photographers didn't take the bait. After sending 2 more decoy vehicles without any result, they resorted to leaving through the hotel's rear entrance. The trio left the hotel in an armored 1994 Mercedes-Benz S280 driven by Henry Paul, the Ritz Hotel deputy head of security. Diana and Fayed were in the rear passenger seats. Paul was in the driver's seat and Jones was in the front passenger seat. All passengers except Jones didn't use a seatbelt because they were trying to duck their heads. The couple was headed to Al-Fayed's father's estate in Rue Hassan Hussein. They initially thought they had successfully evaded the paparazzi and headed to their destination. However, they were wrong. They soon realized some paparazzi were pursuing them on motorcycles and others in a car. Paul began speeding at 60 miles per hour to escape them. At about 12:23 p.m., he attempted to enter the Ponte la Alma underpass to lose the paparazzi when he lost control of the car and collided with a pillar before the vehicle spun around and hit the tunnel's wall at the rear. The car was emitting smoke, with the passengers trapped inside. Many paparazzi took photographs of the wreckage instead of trying to rescue the victims. The witnesses that attempted to help were unable to get them out. About 5 minutes later, an ambulance, firefighters, and the police arrived at the scene. When they brought out the victims from the wreckage, Jones, the only passenger with a seatbelt, was still conscious, but had sustained severe injuries to the head and face. The seatbelt seemed to have helped mitigate the impact of the collision. Al-Fayed was still alive, but drew his final breath shortly after on the scene. Paul had died before he was brought out of the vehicle. Princess Diana was conscious, but was critically injured. Her ribs and an arm were fractured, as well as head concussion and a dislocated right collarbone. Due to the concussion, she was hysterical and had to be sedated before being removed from the car. The French emergency service sent out ambulances with trained personnel and equipment to enable on-scene cardiac and respiratory resuscitation before transporting patients to the hospital. Diana went into cardiac arrest at the scene, so paramedics had to perform CPR to restore her heartbeat before she was transported to the hospital at around 2 a.m. On arriving at the hospital, doctors discovered that her injuries were more intensive than what EMTs had reported. Her heart had shifted to the right side of her chest, tearing the upper left pulmonary vein and the pericardium. All attempts to save Diana's life were ultimately unsuccessful, as she later died from internal bleeding and was pronounced dead at 3 a.m. Diana was greatly loved due to her activism and contribution to humanity, which made it extremely hard for the public to come to terms with her death. Many people were convinced the accident was not so much an accident, but a deliberate attempt to murder her. To understand why people settled on the murder conspiracy, we must review Diana's life and marriage into the royal family. After that, we will examine some of the conspiracy theories associated with her death. Diana was born on July 1st, 1961 in Norfolk, England, to Viscount John and Frances Spencer. In 1975, her father rose to the rank of Earl, making her Lady Diana. She didn't excel academically, but attended finishing school at the Institut Alpin Videmanette in Rougemont, Switzerland in 1978. After graduating, she moved into an apartment she shared with friends in London. She then pursued a career in teaching as an assistant nursery teacher. Around this time, her sister, Lady Sarah, took her to Prince Charles's birthday party. Lady Sarah and Charles had dated for a while but were no longer together at the time. This is believed to be the start of the relationship between Charles and Diana. On the 24th of February 1981, Diana and Charles announced to the world that they were engaged. On the 29th of July that same year, the couple got married. Diana was 20 years old, while Charles was 33 at the time. The couple went on to have 2 kids together, Prince William and Harry. Even though Diana was young, she made a lasting impact on people with her position. She was actively involved in charity works focused on children and the elderly. She also created awareness for people who have AIDS, cancer, and mental illness. To the outside world, she perfectly played her role as a princess, but the royal family thought otherwise. According to Diana, the family quickly criticized her while ignoring every good thing she did. Her husband was not helping the situation either. She and Charles barely knew each other before they got married, as they only saw each other 13 times before their wedding day. Diana discovered that Charles was having an affair with Camilla Bowles, a woman he dated before meeting Diana. He was madly in love with Camilla, but was prohibited from marrying her because she had no family title. Diana became depressed about her loveless marriage that she once attempted suicide. In December 1992, they announced their separation and were officially divorced in August of 1996. After her divorce, she began dating Dodi Al-Fayed. The two were on vacation in France at the time that the fateful accident claimed their lives. 7 photographers were arrested on the scene of the accident, and 9 in total were charged with manslaughter. The initial theory was that Paul lost control of the car because photographers were chasing him. However, the charge was dropped in 2002. 3 photographers who took pictures of inside the car after the crash were charged with invasion of privacy, but they were also acquitted in 2003. In January 2004, an inquest into the death began. The investigation team concluded in December 2006 that the death was a tragic accident caused by Henry Paul's reckless driving and intoxication. He was driving at about 60 miles per hour, which was twice the speed limit in that area. His blood alcohol level was also 3 times the legal limit in Britain. Despite this report, many people still believed other forces were at play in Diana's death. Now, let's look at some of the conspiracy theories that have been put forward. The most prominent theory was developed by Al-Fayed's father, Mohammed. He claimed that MI6, acting on the royal family's instructions, had caused the crash. He said that Diana was pregnant with Al-Fayed's child and had plans to propose to her. The royal family learned about the pregnancy, and Prince Philip ordered the assassination of the couple because he could not stand an Egyptian Muslim becoming the prince's stepfather. Investigators found evidence that Al-Fayed had purchased a ring shortly before the day he died. This theory is interwoven with one that says a white Fiat Uno followed Diana's car into the tunnel, then shined its lights into Paul's eyes, making him lose control of the vehicle. The passengers of the white car are speculated to be MI6 agents. The second theory is similar to the first, but with a slight twist. The stand here is that Paul conspired with MI6 to crash the car intentionally. These theorists believe that Paul was an informant for MI6 who had worked his way to the top of the Ritz Hotel security detail to get an opportunity to murder Diana. This theory is based on Paul's finances at the time of his death. He made $35,000 a year, yet had over $200,000 in his bank account, indicating that he was on someone else's payroll. This last theory we will examine claims that Diana predicted her death 10 months before it happened. These theorists claim an entry in her journal read, "My husband is planning an accident in my car. Brake failure and head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry Tiggy, Prince Harry's former nanny. Camilla is nothing but a decoy." There are 2 sides to a coin, so we will review the other side of each of these theories after debunking each of them. You can then make up your mind on which one holds water. According to forensic reports, there were no signs of pregnancy with blood tests showing no evidence of elevated pregnancy hormones. Operation Paget, set up purposely to examine her death, presented witness testimonies that Diana had her regular menstrual cycle before her death. Further debunking Mohammed's claim, Diana had previously dated a Muslim surgeon named Hasnat Khan, to which the royal family gave their blessing. What would make Al-Fayed's case any different? Also, the white Fiat Uno car reportedly described by eyewitnesses was never identified or found. Looking at the second theory, it just doesn't make sense that Paul would conspire to crash the car, killing himself in the process. Also, he was not scheduled to work that night, and only showed up because Dodi and Diana suddenly changed their plans. This fact completely strikes out the premeditation claim. Besides, the investigation reports show that he lost control of the car because of recklessness and drunken driving. Even though theorists won't agree that it was simply an unfortunate incident, the case has since been closed with the conclusion that it was, in fact, a tragic accident. However, we would love to hear from you viewers. Do you think the royal family did not want El-Fayed as stepfather to their future king, so they killed him and Diana? Or was it just an accident, and people are reading too much into it? Leave us a comment below. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Likewise, turn on notifications so you never miss a video.